Sanctions must be placed on Nigeria after horrific Christian persecution, lobby group says. Boris Johnson announces that the Foreign and Commonwealth Office and the Department for International Development are to be merged into a single Whitehall unit, a new Foreign and Commonwealth and Development Office. The UK is embarking on phase 1 of POCA enforcement and will be looking for other cases of human rights violations. Sadly, there are so many around the world, it is perhaps hard to know where to start. A recent report from the All-Party Parliamentary Group on Religious Liberties, led by MP Jim Shannon, provides a credible answer. MPs and peers looked into the horrors of Christian persecution in Nigeria. The report is a damning indictment of the mayhem there and the wholesale murder, destruction and property and persecution of Christians in the Middle Belt region of that country. The situation is horrific. In July 2018, the Nigerian House of Representatives declared the killing of Christian farmers in the Middle Belt to be genocide and requested the government to act by establishing orphanages, among other critical steps. 2 years later, this has not happened. Churches continue to be burned in Nigeria. 500 churches in Benue State alone. Many Christians fear for their lives, and prominence is no protection. Witnessed the murder of the chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, the Reverend Lonsi Andimi. Shockingly, Theophilus Danjuma, a former army chief of staff, has alleged that the Nigerian army is not neutral. They collude in either cleansing of Christians. Given the Nigerian government's complicity in the persecution of Christians, in clear violation of the Nigerian constitution and international law, it is to be hoped that the full force of the Magnitsky-style powers will be used against the perpetrators. The UK can seize the assets of persons who have engaged in conduct connected with such human rights abuses, including directing, sponsoring, or profiting from it, or materially assisting with it. The Sanctions and Anti-Money Laundering Act 2018 empowers UK ministers to impose sanctions to provide accountability for or be a deterrent to such actions, which amounts to a gross human rights violation. The silence of Nigeria's Chief Law Enforcement Officer, Attorney General Abubakar Malami, is damning and will surely be considered by the UK and others who examine how best to use human rights sanctions. The Fulani herders who are committing these atrocities certainly see the Attorney General's silence as tacit approval for their actions and enjoy the comfort of knowing there will be no meaningful sanction from law enforcement. Sanctions must be placed on Nigeria after horrific Christian persecution, lobby group says. As Britain stands for liberal trade, competition and the protection of property rights, its foreign policies should deliver those around the world. The protection of individual liberty and the protection of the security of your person and your property is a critical value of the UK's liberal economic democracy and has been so since Magna Carta. The protection of human rights abroad is crucial to reflecting modern British values. Sadly, there are so many around the world, it is perhaps hard to know where to start. A recent report from the All-Party Parliamentary Group on Religious Liberty, led by Jim Shannon, provides a credible answer. All the signs that Boko are attempting in Nigeria, what ISIS failed to do in Syria, are crystal clear. In the last 10 months alone, they have invaded and permanently occupied 350 Igbo villages and communities. Localities such as Kaljuri have shown their vulnerability, and many remained unprotected by the federal government. Added to all this, rampant political and media corruption in Nigeria has drawn the spotlight on President Buhari, who lacks either the willingness or capability to confront the issue head-on. An endemic lack of transparency makes it harder to expose this corruption. The Corruption Perceptions Index 2019 ranks Nigeria as 146th in the world, 2 places lower than 2018, scoring an abysmal 26 points out of a possible 100 level with Iran. It is difficult to imagine these statistics describing one of the most prominent members of the Commonwealth and a long-time friend of Britain. Combined with this inadequate response to perhaps Africa's largest ever tourist insurgency, Nigeria, Africa's largest economy, and those responsible for it have been slammed by the IMF. Persistent structural and policy challenges continue to constrain growth. The UK, like many other countries, has now armed itself to deal with this type of violation of its values. The government must now act. It is obvious that carrots alone will not change behavior in Nigeria, nor will the violence and butchery end until there is a clear message from the West to Nigeria's leadership that such actions will not be tolerated and be met with the full force of law. Okay? So guys, this is not a new thing that we've been hearing. These are the things that have been happening. I'm sure very soon this woman will come out and begin to say, no, you guys are not in Nigeria. You don't know what is happening in Nigeria. I mean, Loretta Onoche, because immediately she will just come out and begin to tweet what she wants to tweet. Gabashi will still come. Even Femi Adesina, they will begin to defend what is not, something that is so glaring. And more so, we talk about corruption. I think this government does not have the moral justification to say that other people are corrupt. They cannot tell us, because see the statistics of the corruption, where it was in the previous administration before they came in, and see where it is now. So what are we talking about? There's no difference. There's no difference at all. There's no changes. It's even getting worse. Like we've been hearing from a Transparency International, that the corruption in this government is worse than what we used to experience in the PDP time. So they have no moral justification to say or to call other people corrupt. And more so, they are the same because they are working together. Because anybody coming from PDP, if really you have integrity, you are not going to be saying, oh, politics is a number of game. Everybody is there's freedom of association. But that being said, the issue of a Christian marginalization and maltreatment, it's not something that is new, but the government is always coming out to debunk it or to deny it. But that is exactly what has been happening. You see the issue of S-men, and recently we talked about these S-men doing all manner of things. Even now they've taken over universities in some 2 universities or campuses in Anambra State, and it's there in the public domain. So what are we talking about? Of course, these people are saying that there's no action being taken, whether there's a conspiracy, whether they have an agenda. But even if there's no agenda, but they themselves, maybe they are happy because the Southerners did not agree to this Ruga of a thing, and the government has been hearing about the atrocities of this S-men, but they don't do anything. For the fact that you say that, you know that they are keeping quiet, it gives them more, emboldening them to do more, to commit more crime, and they are not saying anything. So when there is no law enforcement, it's, you don't expect them to change. So that's just the way it is. That is just the way it is. So sanctions will be too tough for the poor masses, because this government will find a way to push the suffering to the poor, as they always do. Just divide the country and let the old eastern region of Biafra, who are all Christians, go their separate ways. I don't trust them for anything, because they are Nigerians' biggest problem. You people are the major reason why we are suffering in the hands of all these uncircumcised people called the Hausa and Fulani. Excellent if it is real. That's another thing. If it is real, someone say it is, so it's going to be so excellent. And also, UK should go ahead and ban those leaders and politicians from traveling to UK and other European countries, both for medical check-up, summer holiday, and the rest, because they are evil. Let it not end up in sweet talks only. Take appropriate actions now. Insecurity is too much. If your sanctions will help us, it is long overdue. Okay, so guys, let us hear your opinion concerning UK group moves to place sanctions on Nigeria for Christian persecutions. What do you think? Do you believe that it is a right step in the right direction? Leave your comment below and let us have your take. Thank you.